Okay, so like I said, welcome to the first session for the front-end squad. Today we're going to cover two main areas, which should help us get started working on the front-end squad. We're going to learn HTML, and we're going to learn some Angular. I'm going to start off with us setting up Angular so that we have a place to practice our HTML as we learn it, all right? Now, Angular is JavaScript. More accurately, Angular is TypeScript, right? But all the JavaScript you've learned will work in TypeScript. So you don't really have to learn a whole new language to use TypeScript. But TypeScript is essentially, it's a new language, but it's converted to Angular before it is published, right? So browsers see the TypeScript you write as JavaScript. But TypeScript offers a lot of advantages about JavaScript. I won't go into those details today. That's out of scope for what we're going to do today. I want today's focus to be on being able to actually write HTML and see what we're doing show up in the browser, right? So we're going to learn Angular and we're going to learn HTML for a start today. And those will be the foundations of what we do in the front-end squad. We're also going to take one of the user stories that we wrote on Saturday, and we're going to use that as a case study for our HTML. So we're going to look at that problem, and we're going to see how we'll solve that with HTML. Okay. I'll take one of the simpler ones so that it's quick, and then at the end of the class, the goal is for us to be able to split up the work a little bit and have someone take one story or one part of one story, someone take another part of another story. You know, we all take different pieces and we'll work on that and deliver those for Thursday. And delivering it means committed into Git, right? That's what delivering it means. So we'll all have homework now, something that we have to build, a part of the solution that we have to build and deliver in Thursday. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about Angular. So what's Angular? So Angular is a JavaScript framework that was developed by Google about 7 years ago or 8 years ago. It's become really, really popular, and it's arguably the most popular JavaScript framework out there, partly because, you know, it's by Google and supported by Google. There are a few other JavaScript frameworks out there in competition with Angular. There's React.js, which was developed by Facebook. There's Vue.js, there's Ember.js. There's a bunch of different JavaScript frameworks. They have similarities and they have vast differences as well. But the one we're going to learn here is Angular. Now, what Angular does is that it gives you a full development stack for building very robust, scalable single-page applications, right? Single-page applications are applications that don't typically reload the entire page. They reload sections of the page. An example of a single-page application that you use very commonly is Gmail, right, or Facebook. In Gmail, when you go and when you open an email message, it doesn't refresh the whole screen like old school websites used to. It just opens up the message right there. Everything remains the same. So if I can actually I should start sharing my screen so that way. So if I came here, right, you notice the whole, it's not as obvious here, but the entire screen isn't reloading per se, just a part of it is reloading. But let's look at Gmail, it's a better example. If I come into my inbox here, right, you notice this didn't reload, just this section, and then if I open anyone here, only the email part of it reloaded. This is a single page application because it's one page per se, and sections of it are refreshing. Now, Angular allows us to build apps like this very easily. But beyond that, it actually gives us the ability um, to test our applications. It gives us a lot of components. It gives us a lot of reusability, right? There's a huge um, network of Angular developers out there that you can tap into for solutions. So one of the reasons that I do push Angular and I recommend Angular is because you will find help. There's millions of Angular developers out there, and they're very generous with their knowledge. Angular is also very well documented, and the Angular stack is full featured because it has all the different development tools that you need for unit testing, for end-to-end testing, for it's really rich, and it's very mature. Um, Now I don't know how much that means to anyone on this course yet, but it is very valuable if you choose to do your own thing and choose to go your own way after this. You know, some people will build a company off of this, and having a good, robust stack that has a wide industry of knowledge or a wide body of knowledge out there is very helpful for that. So what we're going to do today, and I want everyone to do this. Well, no, I don't want everyone to do this because I'm going to do this and commit it, and I want everyone to pull. Okay? I want everyone to pull. But I'm going to show you how to initialize a new Angular app, and then everyone, you can pull it and you have that app, but then the work that you're going to do, you're going to have specific commands that you will use. Before we jump in and start learning new commands, I need to make it clear that when you're using the command, you have to be very, very precise with the command that you type in the terminal. You've probably noticed it. You miss a character, you miss a space, you're in the wrong folder, your command would work, right? Computers are not forgiving. Computers are not smart. They're fast. They're efficient. They'll do exactly the same thing a million times, exactly the same way, but it's garbage in, garbage out. Okay? So be very careful and precise with your commands. If you have instructions, read them very carefully. Like, read them to detail. If you get error messages on the screen, read the error messages, right? It will typically tell you how to fix, the errors you're having. So let's jump in here now. I'm going to go to Visual Studio Code. And we're in our classroom app, right? So let's just make sure that, yes, we're in our classroom app. So I'm going to close all these. And in my terminal, close this terminal and open up a new terminal. So opening up the terminal, you go to View and Terminal. There's a shortcut for it. If you remember that. Kill this. And start this flash. So right now I'm in classroom. Okay, so I'm in our classroom application, right? What I'm going to do here, the first thing I want everyone to do before I set up Angular is you need to install Angular globally on your computer. But I'll tell you how. Angular is the Angular command line interface, or Angular CLI, is actually a node module, right? So it's part of Node.js, which is part of why we set up Node.js and have everyone comfortable with Node first. Now, there is a part of Node that we haven't used yet, and that's called NPM. Like N as in Nancy, P as in Peter, M as in Mary. Node Package Manager, right? Node Package Manager is a dependency management system for Node packages. It is how you install node packages or node modules. Node modules are like small pieces of like programs, they're scripts that you can use in your own code, but some of them actually also work like software on your computer. Okay, so on your computer, you will need to do, and everyone needs to do this right now. So you have to do npm space install space at angular /CLI. Sorry, let me correct it. npm install space -g, because you want to install it globally. So npm install space -g at angular/CLI. All right, and you press enter.
Is this one? Should we do this, or should we wait for you to do it first?
No, everyone do this.
Okay.
Right, everyone do this. Now, if you're on a Mac or Linux like I am, and you get this error, access denied, then you have to run it as sudo. So for me, in my case, I'm gonna need to do sudo npm install -g at angular/CLI.
You said G means globally.
Yes.
What's the difference between globally and not globally?
I'll explain. If you install not globally, it will only install in the current folder, which means it will only install for the classroom app.
Interesting.
So if you start another app, you'd have to install Angular CLI there as well. So installing it globally makes it available. You can start 50 apps. You don't have to reinstall Angular CLI. You have it installed. Okay.
Google is asking me if I want to share anonymous usage data with Angular team at Google under Google's privacy policy.
Yeah, that's up to you. But I mean, it's always a good idea.
Really?
Yes, it's anonymous, so. But it just helps them know how it's being used, what's working, what's not working. You know, that kind of feedback is good for.
So philosophically, you usually choose yes?
Yeah, I typically choose yes.
Interesting.
I'm a developer, so if I build something like this and I wanted to know what's working and what's not, I would love that feedback.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Excuse me, mine said save error. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. It says save error.
Yes.
In your console.
Yes.
And you type npm install -g.
Mm-hmm.
So npm space
Angular,
/CLI, no space, which is
yes.
Right.
It said npm1 save error, end, no such file or directory open.
Can you type npm? Just type npm without anything.
Just npm?
Yes, like this.
N or M? N as in November.
No, so N as in November, P as in Paul,
yes,
and M as in Mary.
Yeah, that's one. Okay, I did that one.
Node package manager. What do you get when you type npm?
So it said where command is one of the assets. I did audit, bin, bugs.
Yeah, so as long as you don't get an error.
Okay.
That means you have npm. So npm space install space -g. That's -g. And I'm going to just type it again on my screen. So you're on the Mac, if I'm correct, right? That's the command you need.
I've typed it in the chat.
Okay. Is everyone done? Are you ready? Because I'm going to try to move quickly.
No, mine has.
Yes.
Sorry?
I have, I don't, I
I'm not
have this,
done.
I have this error, invalid command, and it's asking for password, invalid argument, and it's asking for password.
So it's saying
Set,
invalid.
set,
Yes.
set FETR limit in bracket 8, invalid argument. Then the next thing is password. I should put password.
So invalid argument means you have provided an invalid argument. Can you please make
I'm using
sure
a Mac. I put sudo npm install, or should I remove the sudo?
if you're using a Mac, try it without the sudo first. Try it without the sudo first.
What does the sudo command do?
It means do it as a sudo, as a super user. So essentially super user do.
So what's a super user?
So on computers like Macs and Linux, there's what's called a root user that has the privileges to install stuff. That's why it's more secure. So on mixed systems, so Macs, Linux, etc. So if you need to install anything, you have to do it as sudo. If you're going to do anything globally, you have to do it as a super user because most of what you do is scoped as your user.
So super as in supernumerary, not super as in Superman.
Well, as far as that computer is concerned, super as a Superman.
Interesting.
You can destroy the computer if you want it.
Gotcha.
You can
Gotcha.
sudo
Power
wipe.
user.
You can sudo reboot. Like you can shut down the computer.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so you're a super user.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I got this error, npm error, permission of the file, and it's containing directory, or try running the command
Right.
again as administrator.
Right. So you have permission denied because you need to use sudo. So sudo, no space, yes, npm install -g at Angular/CLI. Let me stop sharing. I want you to share your screen because then that may help other Mac users on here who are having trouble.
Okay.
All right, so I'll stop sharing. Now please share your screen. Okay. So let's see. So press up. So right here. Okay. So just enter your Mac password. Just type in your Mac password.
It's not typing.
It is typing. It's not going to show it.
Really?
Okay.
Yep. And there you go. You're good. That's all you needed to do.
But
Right.
I saw this before, then later the error now came.
Yeah, no, it's installing right now. You can see that. So all it needed, all it was waiting for was your password. Okay. All right. So stop sharing. Windows, everyone done?
Nope, Inka. I can't get my.
This one, is it yes or no?
It's up to you. Is that the, hold on, what's that question?
So Inka, I was going to say my
Yes,
I'm looking at my address. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Okay, can you please stop sharing? And
Okay.
then,
I've done that.
okay, so now you share. Okay.
This is what I have. My address stops at training, so I'm trying. How do I get to include
Okay.
classroom?
So in just go to File, Open Folder.
Okay.
And you already cloned Classroom, right?
Yes, I did. So I have
Okay.
Classroom here.
Okay, so click on that. And then, yeah. And then, there you are.
Okay.
Okay. So now that command you could run from anywhere. You could run from a command prompt or a job. You don't have to be, but from now on, we're just going to do everything from within Classroom. Okay.
So npm space install.
And Angular/CLI.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Oh. Okay. Front. Oh, it's going.
Yeah. So yeah, just wait for that to complete. So.
All right.
All right. So while that is going on, I'm gonna initialize the project here. Okay. So while that's in process, I will initialize the project, and I will push the initialized project. And
a question, please. Is it when it says plus at Angular / CLI and the numbers? Is that when it runs?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
You said added 271 packages.
When it's done, it will just come back to the command prompt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right,
it'll come back to the command prompt, and it will be waiting for you. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've got an issue like mine. You know, like I've got an error. I wish I could. If you don't mind, if I can share my screen.
Could you please stop sharing? The person sharing right now. All right.
Question.
So can I share my screen?
Yeah. Please hold
on.
You
gave us a link to install
mm-hmm.
Angular. Is this different from the?
No, I didn't give a link to install Angular. I gave a link to install Git and Node. Yeah.
I got like Angular. I have it on my system right now.
In the chat, that's just the command.
That's just the command. All right. So who's sharing? Someone's sharing.
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I get.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. 1 second. Yeah, you're fine. It's installing.
Installing? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So you can see that progress indicator there. It's still installing. You wait. When it's done, it will give you a command prompt.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to share again.
Can I share mine as well? Just take a quick look.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So just say yes. Let's give Google that all our data. They already have it in there.
Okay, so just click yes, right?
No, type Y.
Y, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and continue. Okay. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to start a new project. Now, the project we're working on together with the backend folks and the infrastructure folks. It's all going to be in one repository. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a folder for the front-end application, right? And that is going to be the root of our Angular app. And then we can start working off of that. That is going to be where we will practice our HTML and everything going forward from the front-end squad perspective, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do an ng new web app, right? And if you wanted to create a whole new Angular application, that's how you do it. You say ng new, and then whatever the name of the app is. So right now I'm saying web app because I wanted to create a folder called web app, short for web application. So now it asks a bunch of questions, right?
Please, can you say that again? I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
What part?
The last statement you made about this ng new web app.
Yes. So ng new web app because I wanted to create a folder called web app. It's going to call my new application web app. Okay.
Are we to do it right away or you
No, no,
just
no,
watch?
no. I said don't do this. I'm going to do this and I'll push it and you pull.
Cool. Oh, okay.
Right.
Cool.
So the only reason I had you install Angular was because you need to have Angular. You need to have Angular CLI to actively work on this, right? But beyond that, just hold on. When I'm done, I will push, and then I'll ask everyone to pull, and then we can get started. All right. So here, I'm just going to answer set of questions. Do I want to use Angular routing? I'll say yes. CSS or SAS. This won't mean anything to you right now, but I'll explain it later. Okay. All right. So okay. I'm gonna sudo this, but then I'll fix it.
Yinka, does it matter that I put in that command when you told us not to? I'd done it until you said don't do it here.
Yes, it matters. You have to delete that folder.
What do I need to redo?
No, you have to delete the web app folder.
Okay, so what should I just type? Delete?
No, you go to your file explorer and delete the folder.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Andrew, I'm not kneeling down.
Yes. And please, let's pay attention to the instructions very carefully because the instructions build on each other. So let's make sure that we know what it is we're doing. And that way we don't, have undue collisions. All right, so here, and here I'm gonna just, all right, so okay, so I've pushed it now. Can everyone please pull? If you've made any local changes, you will have to add and commit before you do a git pull. Okay? So please let's pull so that.
Changes how? You mean the file we just installed?
No, if you have been practicing and you've created a new file or you've made changes to a file, you will need to commit those local changes before you can pull. Okay. So you should typically do a git status C. So if you do a git status and it tells you nothing to commit, working directory clean, working tree clean, then that means you're good. You can just do a git pull. But if you do a git status and it tells you files have changed or untracked files, then you have to perform actions. If it says untracked files, then you have to do a git add, right?
Yinka, I still have an issue. Like, I don't think mine is actually that the Angular is actually downloaded.
What's this showing?
Okay, let me show you. Just share screen. That's what's showing.
You have it's still in progress. You just
oh, really?
have a
Okay.
slow connection. Yes.
Okay.
As long as you have that progress bar, if it fails, you will have an error on the screen.
Where's the progress bar?
That's it at the beginning. That thing that looks like brackets with, with a hash in here. That's a progress.
But it says the authenticity of host GitHub can't be established. The first line after the password says the authenticity of host GitHub can't be established. Blah blah blah. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes or no? Is there something I should put yes?
Oh,
somewhere?
yes. Yeah. Put yes.
Where?
Well, just type Y.
It's not letting me type. Okay, Y and Y. No.
Okay, well, so it's still in progress because the prompt that you have is not changing.
It looks
I
like
think
it's
you wanted
failing.
to type a full yes instead of Y.
Yeah.
Try that.
Okay, so it says type yes or no. Yes.
All right.
So
Okay.
do it again. It says type yes or no. So you have to type a full yes.
Okay. What the hell?
Press Ctrl C. Okay. Press the up key on your keyboard.
Okay.
Again. No. Press Ctrl C. Press the up key a few times until you get back to that npm install command.
Okay.
Press it again. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Go back. Press down. Are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
Okay, so press enter. And then type your password. Your Mac password.
Okay. Enter?
Yep. Okay.
Same failure.
No. You have a space. You see, you have a space between at and angular. It's no space at angular.
Oh, okay.
So just press the up arrow.
Okay.
And then you can use the left to move the cursor back. No, you can't click. You have to use the left.
Left.
And then you have backspace.
And enter?
Yes. And there.
Okay.
Now it's installed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Inka, please, can I share my screen? I tried to look for the web app to delete it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I tried to do Git status, but it's still forcing me to continue with the web app.
Yes, please share.
Give me 1 second.
Oh, so yeah, you didn't complete the process. So if you press Ctrl C, if you press Ctrl C, that should kill it.
Oh, so I should just press Ctrl C?
Yes, in your terminal.
Okay, let me try that.
So how do we know you define the code?
You will see, it will give you feedback. It always tells you whether it pulled or not.
If you don't see an error message, then it's likely pulled.
Yeah, but it will even tell you that it's done, that it pulled successfully.
So I'm unable to share because someone else is sharing.
Yeah, I just started sharing. Did Ctrl C work for you?
I can't even type. It's like after I did the NG web app and then I tried to look for it and then I did Git status. So right now what is showing is not even allowing me to type Ctrl C.
Okay, did you try Ctrl C?
Oh, well, let me see. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just do that. Okay. So it's showing me installing packages and stuff.
press Control C again.
Okay, I'm back at Classroom now.
Okay.
So should I look for the web app again to delete?
No, you probably didn't create it. But hold on, I'll let you share it just, and then we need to really move forward. All right, please share.
I think I'm sharing now. So this is what it is.
Okay, so can you type dir?
Yeah.
Just press enter.
Yeah.
All right, so you see it did create the web app. So go to your file explorer. Like your Windows file explorer.
This was where I found everything.
Now you're not sharing your desktop, you're only sharing Visual Studio Code, so you can't see anything else. So you have to stop sharing and share your desktop.
And share my desktop, okay. Let me see. So can you see now? So this is my file explorer, and I'm still looking for web app here.
So open Classroom.
Open the.
Oh, okay. So okay.
And then right click on it and delete that. Just press Shift Delete. So select it and Shift Delete.
Okay.
All right. So now in Visual Studio Code, just do a git pull.
Okay.
If you go back to Studio Code.
So git pull.
So you're still not sharing your desktop.
Yeah, sorry. Let me.
Oh, you're still sharing it.
You have to stop sharing.
Yeah, I'm going. Sorry. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Thank you. I think it's working.
Okay, so you do a git pull and then you should have it. All right, so are we all git pulled? Do we all have the web app folder now?
Yep.
Excuse me, I'm not pulling. I'm up to date, but I cannot see this classroom in my visual.
So I already said how to get there. Go to File, Open Folder, and find Classroom. And select it and open folder.
Could you help me take a look at my screen? My file is even missing. I can't access the file. It's like I have a full screen and everything has disappeared.
Okay, press Alt, but share your screen. Share your screen.
Okay, thank you.
All right, press Alt. You're on Windows, press Alt. Yeah. And I go to File. And then go to Open Folder. And then you're already in the Classroom folder. You're already there. No, you're already in Classroom.
I'm already there?
Yes. From what I can see, you're already in Classroom. So just select folder. Click on that button.
Just click select folder.
Click select folder. The button. Bottom right. Yeah.
Now I have Classroom. Wasn't there before. This one wasn't there before.
Okay, so you're good. You're good.
Thank you very much.
Let's move on.
Thank you.
Please let's all get used to doing this because it is as fundamental as knowing how to put a key in a car, right? If you can't start a car, then you can't drive. So let's get used to being able to start up Visual Studio Code in the project folder, right? File, open folder. If you're not in Classroom, go File, open folder, and that's it. All right. I really need us to get that. That's the most basic thing that we have to do. All right. Okay. So that's set up. we all have done a Git pull. We should all have a web app folder showing up in our classroom. So if we collapse examples, there should be a web app folder somewhere, right?
Yep, there is.
All right. So here's one trick you can do. You can say open in terminal, right? You can right click on that web app folder and say open in terminal. And that brings you to the web app folder here in your terminal. And when you're there, we're going to say ng. ng is shortcut for Angular. So all the Angular CLI commands start with ng. You're going to use it a lot. So let's get used to that. So ng is short for Angular, and that's the Angular CLI command. And that gives you the ability to create new components, new services, new everything. But even more importantly, it allows you to start your web server, right? So if you go ng serve, and everyone needs to go on mute. So ng serve --open.
You spelled it wrong.
What part did I spell wrong? Oh, serve, yeah, my serve is wrong. Okay, so ng serve --open. When you press enter, a beautiful, beautiful thing happens. Well, for some.
It says it failed because running scripts is disabled on this system. What can I do?
Okay, well, I'll show you an alternative.
Okay.
So just do ng serve. If you get that error, then just do ng serve without the open.
Yeah, I still got the same error.
I have this error. The serve command requires to be run in an Angular project, but a project definition could not be found.
Because you didn't follow the steps I instructed. I said right click on web app and say open in terminal.
Oh, okay.
Right. Please, let's follow the instructions very strictly. Right click on web app, open in terminal, and that will bring you to the terminal, to the web app folder here.
Okay.
And when you're in the terminal, in the web app folder here, then you type ng serve --open. Okay? And that, you should get this. You should get essentially a web server running on your local machine.
Excuse me, Mr. Inga.
Yes.
I did that and I got cannot be loaded because running script is disabled on the system.
Okay, so that is the same. And you're on Windows?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Wale is on Windows. Is everyone on Windows getting the same error?
I'm on Windows. I got it too.
Okay. So
My error is different. I'm getting an unhandled exception.
Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to stop sharing. And Wale, let's go with you. Can you share your screen? Wale, are you there?
He's not.
Well, he's sharing his screen, which means he can hear me, but he's probably on mute.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do it differently for the Windows guys then. Can you go to your command prompt?
You mean separate command prompt?
Yes.
Okay.
This is
so can you see my command prompt right now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So navigate to the classroom folder.
Sorry. was a matter of pressing C.
Well, do you have File Explorer? Can you find the folder in File Explorer?
Sure.
Yes, use File Explorer, and you can. I believe in Windows you can drag that folder into your command prompt. Let's see. Okay, so that's a classroom folder, right? And then web app, drag it onto the command prompt. Okay, so actually, no, go to the beginning. You move the cursor to the beginning.
Gotcha.
So CD, type CD first, CD space, and then drag.
And then what?
And then
drag.
Open your, yes, and
Okay,
then drag it in.
All right.
So that saves you having to figure out how to type the path correctly.
Gotcha. It's good. What's it called to learn?
I guess you can just copy that.
Yeah. I mean, you can press the up. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, press enter.
Did it work?
No, you haven't pressed enter yet.
I actually have. Okay.
All right. So now try ng space serve space hyphen open.
Does that work? Is that it?
Yeah, try that.
All right. Would you like to show anonymous usage data?
Yeah.
Not again.
Cannot find a module at Angular dev kit. Okay. Type npm. Wait. Okay, you did a git pull, right? So type npm. So for everyone, if you get this error, type npm. Wally, you did the npm install at Angular. Yes, you did. So just do npm install.
Enter.
Npm space install.
Enter.
Yes. And everyone, please, you might need to do this. So when you go into the web app folder, do npm install. So for everyone in the web app folder, do an npm install. Okay, all right, you can stop sharing. Does that work for everyone?
Right.
Are the
It's
Windows
not
people
done
good?
installing yet.
Okay, but you got a similar situation where.
Yeah, the unhandled exception was the same error. You don't find
Okay.
package that
Okay, all right.
Stop.
All right, so what I'm gonna do here,
It says 50 packages are looking for funding. Run npm fund for details. I'm sure funding means something else in this case, right?
No, funding cash.
What?
Yeah, because it's open source. So
oh,
giving out the
gotcha.
packages for free.
Should we run it?
No, don't run anything until I ask you.
Mine is taking quite a bit.
Yes, it depends on your network speed.
Yeah, looks like that fixes it.
All right, good. Okay, so when that's done, I'll need you to do a git pull again, and then we can get started. Now, what I did in the last commit was on the server here.
Oh, we should go ahead and pull, right?
Yes, please. And since you're going to do ng-serve a lot, right? There's a shortcut for ng-serve, which is ngs.
Okay.
Okay. Just remember that shortcut.
Do we need to serve now or do we wait for you?
No, serve. Serve.
So I should do ng serve now after doing the pull.
Yes, so ng serve. And because we're going to start learning HTML, and we're all going to, practice.
So we should put ngf or ngserve. Which one, or is it the same thing?
NGS is shortcut for ng-serve.
Okay, just that?
Yes. I press, ng-serve --open, and that opens it up in the browser, or ngs-open, or ngs-o.
Command not found.
I got an error saying that the serve command requires to be running an Angular project, but the project definition could not be found. Is that correct?
Yes, because you're not inside the web app folder.
Okay.
You have to be inside the web app folder in your terminal. Remember, right-click on web app and say open in terminal.
Okay.
Like right here. Right-click on web app. Where is it? Right here.
Okay.
And say open in terminal. And that opens up your terminal to the web app folder here.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of errors.
Yes, you're probably having the errors that we fixed for them. Okay, so we're going to get started with HTML now. All right, please, let's pull. We're almost halfway through our time and not halfway through the material yet.
It's still compiling.
Yes, so just pay attention, just listen. I'm not going to ask you to do anything yet for a while. Okay.
Inka, does this mean that we stay with command app, since we ended up pulling the web app, or we go back to Visual Studio Code?
What? No, you go back to Visual Studio. Just leave the command prompt running. Once you have your server running and you can access it in the browser, then just leave it running there.
Okay, thanks.
And you're good.
Excuse me, Mr. Inka. I'm not sure I'm in line with everything right now. Though I tried to git pull and it says already up to date, but I cannot, the browser is not coming up in my Visual Studio Code.
Yeah, so did you type ng-serve --open? Are you on Windows?
Yes, I am.
So you have to do it from the command prompt.
I did that from the command prompt, and then it says the serve command requires to be run in an Angular project, but a project definition could not be found.
That is because you're not in the web app folder.
I am.
So in Windows, what's the last part? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and then you share.
Oh, okay.
All right, can you share, please?
1 second. Okay, so this is my command prompt, and this is what I got.
Now, you see that last part right there? You're in Classroom. So you need to see the web app. You're not in the web app folder. Now try the command again. ng serve space -- open. So you need to do npm install. No, npm, yeah, npm install, yeah. Okay?
Okay.
And you just have to wait for that to be done, and then you can do the ng serve.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, so I'm seeing the same thing that you were seeing on your screen, but it didn't open a new web page on my Windows. I mean, on my Chrome.
It opened a web page on your Chrome?
No, it did. It did not open a web page.
Oh, it didn't launch Chrome.
It didn't. Well, Chrome was already open, but it didn't open a new tab or anything.
Okay. Do you have any? Can you stop sharing?
Okay.
And then can you share your screen? Because I think that's everyone on Windows will be at that point. Can you share your screen, Wally?
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Okay, somebody's still sharing.
Yeah. Can you stop sharing?
Sorry, I'm trying to stop it. I can't find a way to.
It's at the top. Just mouse up to the top, and it will drop down, and then you have the red stop button.
Okay, so this is what it showed.
Okay.
And then my Chrome.
Can you share your desktop, Wally? So I can see your taskbar. Or are you sharing your desktop already?
Can you see my taskbar right now?
Oh, okay, okay. The taskbar is on the right there.
Yeah.
On Windows, it might have opened. Did it by any chance open IE or Edge or something?
Let me see. I'll be so pissed off if it did. No, it did not.
Okay.
It did not open anything else. The only browser that is open is Chrome, and both what's it called?
Okay. Well,
neither of them has the new page open.
Okay. Even if it doesn't, now if you look at the response it gave you,
it gave me the exact same thing that I saw on your screen.
Now, but if you read it, can you read it?
Angular from where? Where should I start from?
Yeah, just the last line. The last line.
And it just says Angular.
No, the line before. Yes, that line.
Angular line development server is listening to blah blah blah. Open your browser on HTTP.
Okay.
This is this.
So it's giving you an address to go to. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So I need to actually go to this address, like this.
Without the stars.
Without the stars. Okay.
And see if you can control click it.
Okay, hold on.
Control and click. It doesn't work.
No, it's not working. Let me see if Control C will work. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But let me.
You can just type. Just go to your Chrome and type localhost localhost 4200.
All right.
So just type localhost.
All right. So localhost
colon 4200.
4200. Enter.
Yep.
Can't be reached.
So it says.
No, that's weird.
Are you sure the server is running on your system?
Like where else could it be running?
Okay, so hold on. Can you go back to your command prompt?
Right.
Go back to your command prompt. And then kill it. Kill that. Control C.
Kill it how? Oh, Control C?
Control C.
Okay.
So everyone remember Control C. Say yes.
Yes, okay.
All right, run the command again.
What's that command again? npm.
Just press the up arrow.
All right. ngserve.
Okay, so you did ngserve. You didn't do --open.
Okay.
Yeah, so ngserve without the open will just start the web server. It's not going to open up your browser. But if you do --open,
check the browser. So it's still working, right?
Yes. So it needs to build.
Okay, I see it compiling and all that stuff. All right, cool.
So when it's done, and then you need to get started.
Nice, it's opened.
And there you go.
It's open. Cool. Cool.
That's Romero Local. Now,
so are we done with the command prompt? Can we now go back to, are we still going to use it?
I will tell you what to do next.
Okay. Mine is not. Is saying ng is not recognized as an internal or external command.
Because have you done the npm install -g Angular CLI?
I think I did that before.
Okay. So, well, you have to wait until after the class because I really need to move forward. We could be here all day just trying to get the service started, and that would be not very efficient. All right. So we're going to move on, and we'll wait on after. If you still have issues, then we can resolve with them. All right. Well, make sure you followed all the steps so far. You've done npm install -g, right, at Angular/CLI. If you're on a Mac, you have to sudo it because it's going to try to install globally, right? Now, once you've done, go to git pull, make sure you have the web app folder. And then once you have the web app folder, make sure you are in the web app folder. Any commands you run Angular related, you have to be in the web app folder or a subfolder of web app. You can be further down, but you must be in the web app folder at some level, right? And then once you're there, you type ngserve. ngserve starts up your web server, your development web server. That allows you to run all the code you're going to be writing, the HTML, everything. Allows you to run it and view it in the browser. Okay? And that's the starting point for everything we're going to do going forward. All right? So there are a couple of things I was hoping to achieve today. We'll see if we still can, but for us to achieve them, we're going to have to move even quicker than I planned originally. We're going to learn some HTML, and we're going to create some components. Okay, we'll learn some HTML, and we'll create some components, and that'll get us started. So first thing we're going to do, let's learn HTML. I'm going to share a link, and I'm going to encourage us to go there and explore it more and learn more by ourselves, because there's not enough time to learn everything, right? So there is a site that I really always encourage, and it's W3 Schools. It's a great resource, and I'm not paid for this advert, but I've used them for like over a decade, and they've been fantastic. So it's www.w3schools. I have to start again. All right. And when you come here, there's tutorials on a lot of different things. But the one you're really interested in is the HTML one. So if you come to learn HTML.
You're not sharing your screen, so you're
I'm not sharing my screen. I'm so sorry. Yeah. All right. So this is W3 schools. Okay. It's www.w3, like www again, right? But w3schools.com, right? And I'll say once you come here, one thing is that on the homepage brand is HTML. Just go to the Learn HTML. But the one you use more is this HTML reference. Okay. This HTML reference is going to be very, very helpful as you work. But you can also go through the Learn HTML path, and it allows you to actually practice. You know, if you say try it yourself, it opens up another screen where you can write the HTML and click on run and see it take effect. Okay. So let's get started. So what's HTML? HTML is hypertext markup language, right? It's a markup language, which means that it's not a programming language. It's a language for structuring documents, okay? At the very beginning of the internet was actually, or the World Wide Web was originally designed as a network to share documents, to share information, you know, by universities, government agencies, but it was designed originally just to share documents. All the cool stuff we're doing on the internet today were not part of the original plan. And the language for laying out those documents was HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. Now, what HTML does is it gives you the ability to set up a document and define what part of it is a heading, what part of it is a paragraph, what part of it is a button, what part of it is a hyperlink, you know, what part of it is a form input, etc. That's what HTML does. It doesn't do anything more than that. It literally just helps you lay out your content or your page, if you will, right? Now, there are things that you add onto HTML that give it a lot more capabilities and a lot more power. You can add CSS, cascading style sheets, to make it look pretty, right? You can add JavaScript to give it interactivity. But in its purest form by itself, HTML is just there. The only things that you typically can do is click on hyperlinks or form controls. And that's it. But all the cool stuff, the nice colors and all, they don't come out of the box. Okay? So the structure of HTML is actually very simple, and to a large extent, it is also intuitive because it is primarily English. And HTML is made up of what we call tags, okay? And tags, for the most part, are like containers or wrappers around the content. So they define how the content is placed, they define how it looks, and what type of content is placed, okay? We're not going to go through all the tags because if you look at this here, and you go to the HTML reference, and I think that's probably down at the bottom somewhere. Let me find that. But if you come to this HTML reference, you see that there are a lot of different tags. But a tag is essentially just this. The less than sign, something, something, and that's an HTML tag. Okay? For most tags, there's an opening tag and a closing tag. The opening tag and the closing tag act like a container for whatever is between them. So this is something in my tag. Okay? So remember this pattern. Less than greater than, this is a tag. The closing tag is slightly different because it has a slash before it. And that's the convention, that's the pattern. Every tag that has a closing tag, the closing tag is just slash, the same as the tag. Visual Studio Code helps you. When you create a tag, it automatically closes it for you. Makes life simple. And whatever is in between the opening tag and the closing tag is affected by the tag. I'm going to give you a very simple example here, right? Let's look at a heading tag. So there are certain tags called heading tags, and they're H1 through H6, okay? Let's say I want to create a page with a heading, right? H1 is the largest, it's a huge heading, and H6 is the smallest. It's actually smaller than regular text. But let's say I want to create a page with my name at the top, Awayinka Aditoye, right? That's my H1. So remember, this is my tag, and this is what I want the tag to affect. That's the contents of the tag. If I come here, back to my server, there, that is what my H1 gives me. If I come here and I make this an H3, actually, I'm just going to do them side by side. So H2, this is an H2 tag, right? Oh, it already closed it for me, sorry. Yeah. And then H3, this is an H3 tag, right? There. H1, H2, H3. That's what a heading tag does for you. Okay. Now, you notice something. You notice that I didn't click refresh here, right? And it just automatically showed up. That is because I am running my Angular application here, and it is watching my files. Once I save a file, it automatically sends a refresh command to the browser, right? It's called live reload. That's what it's called. And it's great for developing because you don't want to constantly refresh. So the Angular CLI takes care of that for you. If I make a change here, let's add an H4, right? And I say this is an H4 tag, right? I haven't saved yet, and you know that by this here. Once I save this, watch this lower part when I save. Then we do Control S, and you see, I don't know if you saw this flash, and the page has reloaded right there. So this is awesome. And this is one of the reasons why you would want to use a second screen, because you can just have this browser. Normally, when I'm working, I have the browser on this screen, and I have my IDE, my coding environment on this screen. So I just save, look at it, save. I can make changes and save it very quickly, and seeing it happen on the other screen. So 2 screens is, I mean, from this class, you've already realized how important it is, but in practice, you also typically will work with 2 screens. So the live reload is a fantastic tool. It's part of Angular CLI. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Could there be a compatibility issue? Because I opened my browser in Safari and it's blank. There's nothing on it.
Okay, we'll look at that after. We'll have to get to that after the class. Okay. Now, if you did a pull, I cleaned it out. So if you did a pull, it's actually correct. There'll be nothing on it. Blank. It should be blank. So you're good. Okay, because I cleaned it out. And I cleaned it out so that everyone can try it out. Okay, so if you're running your server, navigate to web app, right? In web app, go to the source folder, and this is in your Visual Studio Code. Please look at my screen carefully, and let's try to do this exactly. In Web App, in Visual Studio Code, go to source, SRC. That's where all our source code is. Later, I'll talk about the structure of this folder, but I want us to understand HTML first. If you go to source, and you go to app, and you open app.component.html, that file should be empty if you have done a git pull. Okay, if you do a git pull, I've cleaned out that file so there's nothing in it because I want it to be our playground. And then you can type in an H1 tag and put your name in it. And just once you save that file, the page in Safari, for those on Mac that was empty, should update and you should see your name in bold like this. Can we try that?
Are you saying we can all work on the same file without conflicts?
We're not pushing. Nobody's pushing.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, we're not pushing. Okay, so just work on that file and save, and then you should see it show up in your browser.
So you said to work on which file and save?
So if you come here, go to inside Web App, go to source.
Okay, did that.
Yeah, source, app
Component. Right.
.html.
Mine is empty.
Yes. So I say it should be empty.
Okay.
So I emptied it, I cleaned it out for everyone. So now just create an H1 tag with your name in it.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
And then save it.
I've got a git pull, but mine is not empty, I think.
It should be app.component.html.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Right. It should be empty. You've done a git pull. Do a git pull again.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the H1 tag. We're just starting with that just for, okay. Then maybe, yes.
So when it's, sorry, question. So when it's saved, what page are we're just going to localhost 4200?
Yes, and you should see your name like that. So you see my address right here, it's localhost 4200. Okay. And that gets you started. So what I'm going to do now is rapid fire. We're going to try to go through a few different tags just so that you get used to the concept of tags. Okay. So now the first set of tags we're looking at, we'll just look at formatting tags, tags that just make the text look one way or the other, right? I'm going to clear all of these out. If you wanted to make, oh, not that too. Now, if you wanted to make stuff bold, right? There's a B tag. This is bold. Ah, come on. I hate the fact that it's trying to help me out too much. Right? There's a B tag. It just makes it bold. But that is not recommended anymore. What is recommended is called strong. This is bold. Ah. Okay. So strong is what's recommended. To make it italics, it's an I tag. This is italicized. And that gives you italics, right? And for underline, that's a U tag, and that makes it underline. These are formatting tags. Okay, now these tags are also called HTML elements. Okay, they're also called HTML elements. And this has brought us to a point where I will talk about two types of elements. And you know the difference between them because they impact how you lay out things on the page. We have two major classes of elements. We have block elements and we have inline elements. If you notice the difference, our H1 is on a different line from the others. The others, even though I have them on different lines here on my page, they're showing in my code, they're showing up on the same line here on my page, right? And so the reason is because all these other elements, all these other tags are inline elements, but my heading tags are block elements. And a block element is an element that takes the entire line. So if you put a block element in, it takes the entire width of the screen for its contents. So it takes the entire line, and anything that comes after that block element starts on a new line. Okay. Inline elements, on the other hand, stay side by side. Right? Now, and that's the difference between a block element and an inline element. So certain tags are block elements and certain tags are inline. Okay. I will show you one very useful tag that you will use a whole lot, and that is the division tag or div. The div tag is a container, and it is a block level, it's a block element, right? So if I put a div, right, around my strong, right, my strong becomes on its own line because div is a block level element. You typically use divs to lay out your screen. If you want to put things side by side, on top of each other, you use divs, screen divisions.
Can you describe a div visually? Like, what is it? Is it like a square? I mean, like a rectangle, like a long rectangle.
A rectangle.
So now the div is like a rectangular box that you can put stuff in, right? It's not like a solid block that you use to divide stuff. It's like a box that you can put stuff inside the box, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It is. And I'm going to make it a little visual here. I'm going to do something you won't understand yet. Hold on. Let me do this. 1 pixel, solid. Right. Can you see it? I see the red border around my div.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, no, sorry, I didn't put the border around the div. Okay. That border is supposed to be around my div. But if you look at it, you see the border around the strong, it is tight, right? Now look at when I take that border and I put it around my div. You see that? I put a border around the div so you can see the boundary of the div.
But this really helps. Thanks.
Okay, so that's a div. And the difference between that and an inline element is that. You see the border around this? So that's what a div is. And like I said, you'll use divs a lot. We'll hop in and try to create one of our forms, right? And you will see how it looks, or how we'll lay it out with divs.
How did you get that red stuff?
We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just using them for now. I'm just doing it for visual purposes, just to show you that a div is a block element. Like I said, it takes the entire row. But inline elements lay side by side. Okay. So I want to run through a bunch of different elements, and then then we'll go through some more. So block elements are containers, and you typically can also contain other elements within them. Now, one good example here is a paragraph, right? Under paragraph, that's the P tag. And I can say, let me look for something here. I just want to borrow a block of text. So this is a paragraph here. This is what we typically call filler text. If you need lots of text, right, and you don't want to start typing a lot, you just look for lorem ipsum, and that's helps you. So if I come here now, in my paragraph, I put that in there. Wait, what did I do? Oh yeah, it's just long. All right. So that's my paragraph. If I save that, this is a paragraph. You see that it's a block element as well. Now, let's say I want to put a hyperlink in my paragraph. A hyperlink is also called an anchor, right? That is an A tag. And I want it around just that word. Okay. So I have my A tag just around that word. And if you look at it, now it's a hyperlink. And I can click on this hyperlink and it takes me to Google. So that is the hyperlink tag, and my phone got excited when I said Google. Stop it. So that right there is a hyperlink. We're going to talk about what this href is in a second. Don't worry about it. I'll leave it there, but we'll come back and we'll talk about it in a second. Okay? So that's another tag. Hyperlink tag is a tag. Okay? You will know these tags with practice, with use. What you need to understand is the concept of it. So you have an opening and a closing. My opening here tells me where to start the hyperlink, and my closing tells me where to end it. So it's only what's in between the opening and the closing that's a hyperlink, right? If I leave out the closing, what happens? Well, Angular is going to complain about it, for one, because it's going to parse it and say, yo, You have an opening tag but no closing, right? Now, browsers actually do not care. They'll just make everything after that hyperlink. But Angular CLI is there to help us not make mistakes like that. So it's already complaining that, hey, I have an opening tag, and it doesn't know where that tag ends because there's no accompanying closing tag. So you always, for most tags, you have to have an opening and a closing. And once I fix it, the page is back. Okay. Now, we're going to go through a few more tags, and then I'll talk about something called attributes. So just a few more tags that are useful. Unordered list is UL. This is a block level tag that contains elements. An unordered list is a list that isn't ordered. A bulleted list, that's another term for it. Right? And when you have a list, what do you have in a list? You have list items, right? So an ordered list, an unordered list or an ordered list is a collection of list items, right? So in HTML, the unordered list tag is a block element and a container for list items. So inside that, we're going to put in a list item. This is first item, right? And then you can come in here and put another list item, another item, command not less important, right? And another item. Okay. Now, and that's how another list shows up. Okay, so here's a question. An unordered list or a list, let's just say list because you have ordered and unordered. A list, what does that remind you of from all the stuff we've learned before? Not
Bullet
today.
points.
There's something that sounds, that when I defined it, it sounded like how I described
Arrays.
Arrays. And very often, you will have an array in JavaScript that you will display as a list in HTML. So you take the JavaScript array and you will typically convert it into a list of some sort in HTML. Collection. The array in JavaScript is how you have the collection in JavaScript. The list in HTML is how you display that to the user. So if I wanted to do an ordered list, right? And this is an ordered list of participants, right? Remember, li is a list item, right? John Doe. And we come, I put another li, Jane Doe. And then we come, I have another li, James Jack. This would be our JavaScript array, and we spat it out as a. So the difference between ordered lists and an unordered list is that this actually generates a serial number, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And unordered lists just gives you a bullet. So this is also called a bulleted list. And this is called an ordered list or a numbered list. Okay. But if you want to remember what the tag is, think of it as ordered and unordered. We typically use this to show items that have hierarchy or a sequence. I typically use to show items that don't have hierarchy or don't have a sequence, just a collection. Like if I wanted to show a list of fruits, right? And no fruit is more important than the other. Then I'll use them on over. Now, what we have done here, where we have an HTML element, and then inside it we have another HTML element, is what we call nesting. This element is nested inside this element. Think of a bird nest, right? So this is called nesting. You have nested elements. You have HTML element inside another HTML element. And that is possible. It's okay. There's no rules against it. I can take a hyperlink, right? href equals, let's say, HTTP. All right. Sorry, this is my A tag, right? Okay. Because I want to create a hyperlink. And then inside here, I want to say strong. This is what Yahoo boys love, right? And then in here, let's say I want to make Yahoo underline or italics. Let's say I, and I have to fix it because here it's trying to close it for me, which I don't want. I want to do this. All right. And if I save that, now I have my hyperlink. It's all bold, and the Yahoo in there is italicized. Okay, so do you understand how tags work now? Everyone? Any questions? Opening, closing. They make a container, they wrap something. It's like a phone case. The tag you put on your phone. I put a pink case tag on my phone, wraps my phone in pink. Right? What's inside is my phone. If I change it to a blue case tag, my phone is now wrapped in a blue case. So tags usually help to define the content in them or make them look one way or the other. There are also tags, like the hyperlink tag, that actually creates something on the screen that can be interacted with. Okay? And also remember, tags can be inside of other tags. Okay? Now, one thing that we did with the A tag that I said I was going to get back to is how we provided the address here. And what we did was we typed href equals something. That is what we call an attribute. Okay, that's an attribute of a tag. You can use an attribute to change the properties of a tag, to make it look different from how it would normally look or behave in a particular way. Some tags require attributes to function properly, right? For example, if I want to put an image tag, for me to put an image tag on the screen, right, I have to have a source for the image. I have to have where the image is coming from, right? So let's say we come to Google here, and we look at images. Let's just find an image that we like here, right? And I'm gonna say, let me say inspect so I can get the URL for that image. If you look at the inspection here, you see I have an image tag with a class attribute, but I have a source attribute. This source attribute is what I'm looking for, right? So I'm going to copy that address. And let's come here and we'll create an image tag. An image tag is simply img. So img, and then the source attribute. The attribute is usually something equals, and then in quotes, the value. And I'll paste that URL there. And I'll save. And I'll use this to tell you about one type of tag that doesn't have closing. There's some tags that don't have closings. And look at that. I put my image right there. Right? If I remove the source, from my image tag, and I save this, I have no image because I'm telling you, yeah, I want to show an image, but where's the image? Right, so you always have to have a source for an image. Either a source or a different URL, but image tag is pretty much useless without attributes. Another thing I can do with attributes here, I can set a width for it. I can say width 100. And if I save it, now you see that it's 100. Okay. I can set the height for it, which is me setting the height attribute. If I set the height to 300, there. But you notice what's happened? It has stretched it because I've changed the aspect ratio. That's a whole different ballgame. But the trick for avoiding that is to only change either the width or the height. So if I remove the width now, it will automatically calculate the height and maintain and not distort the image. So I'm going to take this width out. Okay. So that's the attributes. Attributes are properties or attributes of tag. Use them to add more detail to a tag. And the image tag, because it cannot contain anything, I can't put anything inside this image, right? It does not have a closing tag. And there are a few tags that are like that just drop something on the screen, but you can't wrap it around anything because they themselves are something. There are a few tags like that, but for most tags, you have to have an opening and a closing.
So you said because they themselves are what? I didn't hear the word you used.
Because they themselves actually display something or drop something on the screen.
Gotcha.
Right? And I'll show you a few more like that. Okay, I'll show you a few more like that. But, so do we all understand the concept of attributes? With time, like if you go to the HTML reference for any tag, it will tell you what the possible attributes are. Not every tag has the same attributes. If I set height on the A tag, it will do nothing. Right? If I set height, right, it does nothing. It hasn't really changed it. You get what I mean? The text is still exactly the same. Right? So the height attribute does nothing for the A tag. But I can set, there's an attribute for A called target. And let me show you what it does. You see here, if I come here and I click on this, it opens Yahoo in the same tab, right? It took me away from my site, but let's say I wanted it to open Yahoo in a new tab. I will set a target for it, and I'll say the target equals _ blank. And again, there's reference documentation for all of this. And now that I've set the target to blank, if I click on this, hold on one second. If I click on that, it will take me to Yahoo in a new tab. And and then I can explore my talents further. All right, back here. So that's what an attribute is. So we have tags, we have nested tags, we have block level tags, and we have inline tags. The image tag is inline as well. You can see it's inline with this. Who can tell me how, if I wanted this image tag to be on a new line, who can tell me how I would achieve that? Anyone?
Use division.
Okay. How do I spell that tag?
DIV, DIV, right?
Okay, so I'll put the div tag here. Div, right? And I take my image here and put it inside the div. And that makes it on the new line.
Okay, I want to ask. If you want to, if you have your own image on your system and you want to put it in your page, how do you do that?
Okay, good question. So let's say, so here the URL for my image is absolute, right? If I wanted an image just relative to the folder I'm in, right? I would come here and just say the slash. And that means the image is in the same folder as this file. Okay? That's how you would do it. You use what is called a relative path. The path that I had here before is what's called an absolute path. I define the server, I define where it is in the URL on the internet. So I define the absolute path to that image. When you build applications and pages, absolute paths are a bad idea for your own image or for your own assets. So images, styles, audio, video, we call them assets. You typically do not want to use an absolute path to your own assets. The path on your local computer will not work on the server. So use a relative path so that the browser determines where it is based on the page it is on. So as long as it's side by side in the same folder, or it could even be in an upper folder, in which case you would say .. or it could be in a lower folder, but relative to whatever the page is that's requesting the asset. Use a relative path and you'll be good. Okay? All right. I'm going to run through a couple more tags, but this time in the context of trying to deliver our first user story, right? And this is not the end of it. This is actually just the beginning. So if we come back to Jira here, and we look at, let's go to active sprints, right? And let's look at our story for, what's this? Sign up. Or let's look at the homepage story. Let's just create a shell of a homepage, right? So where's the homepage as a, I want a homepage, this one. We haven't designed it or anything, right? But let's assume, no, I don't want to do the homepage. I want to do the sign up form because actually what I want to show is different. So let's do the sign up form. If we look at this story, I want to sign up, right? And we said we're going to have a form with first name, last name, email address, phone number, password, confirm password, and comments. This is really, really nice, okay? I'm going to come here. And what am I going to do first? I'm going to create a div, right? And in here, I'm going to create, I want to do the first name, right? So I need a, what do I need for a first name form field? Anyone?
List. LI.
You could probably use an H3 tag since it's smaller.
Well, no, but okay, how do I have the user type in a
LI.
Well, no, I need an input, right? Because I want them to type in the first name. So first thing, let's do this. What am I creating? I'm creating a form, right? So I'm going to use the form tag, right? To say, okay, this is a form. And inside my form, I want to use a div because I want them to be one after the other, line after the other, right? So I'm going to do a div there. Now I'm going to create an input. And this time I have an attribute called type equals text, right? And I will give it a name attribute just so that first name. Right, first name. And this tag has no closing because it does something by itself. Let's come back here. And there, I have an input called first name that I can type a line cat. And because I named it first name like that, you know, I have filled a previous form that had an input called first name as well. Okay, that's my input. But it's not very useful to a user because they don't know what they need to type in there, right? So there's an attribute I can add to that input that will help. And that is a placeholder attribute. So I say, okay, placeholder. I save that. Look at that. Now has a placeholder. This is how you see that when you click on it and start typing, it disappears. I don't have to do any JavaScript or anything for that. The placeholder is there until I actually start typing. Okay. One other thing I can add to this, before this, I can add a label. And this gives me the text outside of that. And now I will say for and I will give this an ID of first name. I'll explain this right now. But let me show you first, and then I'll explain. You see that? Now I have first name and this. If I click on this label, you see how we put the cursor in there? Notice I can click on this to get that same effect, right? Or I can click on this, and it puts the cursor there, and I can just start typing. The label is an important part of a form. And this for here is what joins them together, which makes it such that this is the label for this input. And the value here is the ID. You notice when I highlight this, right? The value here needs to match the ID for that link to exist. Another way of doing it, if I don't want to do it that way, is I can wrap my input, right, with my label. And that also does the same thing. It makes, when you click on this, this is activated. Okay? But this is better practice to do it outside. Any questions so far?
Yeah, have you taught us how to put a space between the name and the label and the input, or is that for later?
Well, yeah, I can come here and I can put a space here, right? And if I save that, I get a space there.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. Now, the one thing that's important to know about HTML is if I put a whole bunch of spaces, you know what's going to happen? Nothing.
One space.
To collapse it all down to one space.
So is it better to use the space or to do it in your styling later, like
So
padding and stuff like that?
Doing it in styles is the way to go.
Okay, never mind. Let's not get ahead.
Yes, so you're jumping a little ahead, but we'll get there because your markup is your markup. It should just define the content, and then if you now want to work on the look of it, then you want
basically it doesn't matter how ugly the markup is initially.
You can make it look great.
Gotcha.
What you want to do though is that you want to have your initial basic structure, because if your basic layout is bad, you will have a hell of a time styling. Right?
I see.
So yeah, let's just do this. Let's finish out this form very quickly. So I'm just going to copy this, right? So that I have last name, right? And then this here. And then change this to last name, right? And then here I'm gonna make this email, right? If I can spell that right. And this is going to be email address. And I'll make this email. I'll make this email. Right? And then my placeholder here will also be, and this one needs to be last name. Okay? And then here, now for email, I'll change the type here to email as well. Okay? Now, this is going to be password, right? And I'll change this to password. I'll change this to password. And this to password. And I don't need a placeholder for that because you're going to see something special about password fields. And then this is going to be confirmed password, right?
On the last name, you still have first name embedded in it. Is that deliberate?
No, totally accidental. So confirm password, and then ID is confirmed, and this is confirmed. All right, and then my last name, you said I still have first name where? All right, yeah. Okay, so if I save this now, I have more of my form, right? If you notice, I have my type here for password and then set it to password. And this type, password. Okay, and what you see here, I can go align cap, right? Okay, right? Then I can go right? And then here, my password, you see that? Because it's a password field. Hiding the characters and typing. The same thing, the confirm password is a password field. So that's what the type password does for you. Okay, and then the last thing I need to do is I need comments. So I'm going to use what's called a text area, right? And my text area here, I also need a label, right? And then for this to work, I'm missing an attribute here for the for to work, which is the ID attribute. And that's what connects the label. And that's my text area. And if I want my text area to have multiple rows, I can use an attribute for it called rows. 5. And now I have 5 lines of text. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And this is a good old text here. Okay. And then the last thing I will add, and we're out of time, so I have to wrap this up. Last thing I'm going to add now is a button. 2 buttons. Use a button, type equals submit, right? And I'm going to say sign up, and then let's put another button here. Type equals button, and I'm going to call this cancel. And that gives me 2 buttons there, cancel and sign up. And just for fun, we're going to disable the sign up button and say it's disabled until the form is filled. So I'm going to say disabled, right? And you can say disable equals disabled or just disabled, and you're good. And if I do that, this button is now disabled. Can click it. You notice it's grayed out, and then this one is not. So this is just a quick and dirty jump into HTML. There's a lot more elements and a lot more attributes for creating forms, for creating tables. You know, there are different selects and stuff for forms. Okay. Any questions? We have to stop now. We're completely out of time. Any questions, or are people dead? Anyone still alive?
I'm here, but I'm still waiting till after the class. You asked me to.
Okay.
Thank you.
So anyone still alive, or did this could we fry our brains again?
We good.
Yeah.
You ready for a snap quiz? Anyone?
Yep. We're done.
Yinka,
Yes.
I'll wait after the class as well. In Visual Studio Code, it looks like I have an error in my file. So
okay.
I'll share my screen. That's the best way to show.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to commit this and push it out so that if you want to look at it and play with it.
Yinka,
yes.
let me report myself. So I tried to, before you said we shouldn't push, I think I might have tried to push something that might have messed everything up.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you might need to do some surgery.
I will see. So let me commit this and we'll see how that works. Sign up form stub, right? I'm calling it stub because this is not complete. So get cool. Yeah, so you haven't pushed, Wally?
Yeah, I realized that I tried to do a git commit and I did -m instead of -am. Okay. So it never committed, so you're good.
Okay. All right. So what you can do is you can do git stash. Git stash like this. sorry. Oh,
Misspelled.
Git, yeah. Now you see what Git is telling me. It helps me correct that command. So Git stash. If you do Git stash, I don't have any changes that are committed. So if you do Git stash, it will stash your changes, and then you can do a Git pull.
All right.
So it will allow you to essentially suspend your changes in memory, and then you can do a Git pull, and then you can apply your changes after pulling if you want.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I pushed this out. Yes, I pushed this out. I will share the link to W3 schools. Let me just do that right now so that you can go in there. And my recommendation is play with HTML, like get comfortable with it before Thursday, right? Try different things, try to create tables, try to create lists, because Thursday I want to move on to something else, all right? And this time we have days in between, for those who are only taking front end, we have, 2 free days in between. Let's play with this. It's the most easiest, is the easiest aspect of what we're going to do. So I'm going to share this now in Slack. So I'm going to pull this over. And then we're done. Let me stop recording so that the class is ended officially. And please stay on if you have